All right, what's going on, guys? Today we are talking a little bit about suspension, nothing too crazy, but a $150 kind of life hack that you can do to fix your truck's front end sag after putting on weight in the front, whether that be a steel bumper or even an aluminum bumper and then a winch, things like that. So my 1992 Toyota Land Cruiser is still on stock suspension, both front and rears. And after adding a steel bumper, welding that together myself, putting it on the truck, it handled it okay. It still was in a proper stance, but then when I threw on the Badlands winch, that's when things started getting out of control. I definitely was losing a few inches at the very least. This video wasn't one that I was planning on making, so I apologize because there's not a ton of documentation of the before look, but the installation and how well this actually worked really surprised me so much that I decided to make a video because I think that this could perhaps save you guys some time, money, effort. One of the routes that I was thinking about going to address my nosedive was to just get stronger springs. I think they're the ARB 2861 springs, and those are stock height, but for heavy loads in the front, something like a winch and a steel bumper. The reason why I chose not to do that is because the store that I went to and asked for an estimate for a quote to install those springs and do an alignment, they were going to charge me about $500 on top of the cost of the springs, and that's a lot of money. My creative solution is a Sumo Springs product. This is not sponsored. I'm sure that they would not approve of the way and the method in which I am using their product. Because what you do for the Sumo coil springs, they have a whole wide array of products in their lineup, whether that be their coil springs, their Sumo springs, their super springs, they're got tons of stuff. But with the coil Sumo springs, essentially what you do is you measure the distance between coils, and then you take that measurement, plug it into their website, and they'll spit out a product that they recommend for your size. What I did is I measured the spring gaps before I put on the steel bumper and the winch. So for me, that was about 1 inch, and that was kind of my stock height. But I also figured that having 30-year-old springs that probably have never been replaced, they might be a little bit tired, and they might not be as springy or as stiff as they were coming straight out of the factory. So what I decided to do was a +1. And this is where it gets confusing because you don't want to just go to the next measurement up, go anywhere between like your 1 inch and your 1 1/3 inch or 1 1/2 inch. They'll recommend the same coil spring for anything in between that. So I just went up to their next largest coil Sumo spring, CSS 1145, I believe. And the inner height is 1.45 inches, so almost 1.5 inches. So installation super easy. It is a little more difficult if you're doing this plus size method because you're putting in a bigger coil Sumo spring than what is generally recommended. So I jacked the truck up as high as I can from the frame, used a lot of soapy water because they were really stiff to get in, and I even had to use a screwdriver just to start it and put a lot of focus pressure just to get the coil Sumo spring underneath the actual spring. And so once I struggled with that a bit, got through that part of the installation, it was smooth sailing from there. And then I put a zip tie in place to fasten it so that it wouldn't come out no matter what. And shockingly, these work incredibly well. They give me, I would say, at least a couple inches of height on the front end, so it just looks meaner. It looks right. It doesn't look like it's nose diving and doing that kind of classic Land Cruiser sag. So in addition to bringing up my front end's ride height, enables you to increase your front end capacity, your front end load capacity by 30%, which is pretty fantastic. I'm sure some of that is diminished by the added stress that mine are under because I chose a bigger size, but in no way, shape, or form is adding a 90-pound front end bumper and another 90 pounds of a winch anywhere close to 30% of the total weight capacity that my springs can handle, because if you think about it, you got the whole engine in the front of the vehicle that's being supported by the front end springs. What surprised me most about this upgrade is the effect that it has on just the ride comfort. The original Sumo springs have a lot to do with how the vehicle rides when you go over bumps and such, because the polyurethane comes in contact with your frame and thus dampens stuff, kind of supplementing and helping out your actual shocks in the dampening process. But I was very surprised because the polyurethane on the springs actually really soak up a lot of the impacts that you hit, even dropping off a curb. I did some testing, and super, super, super comfortable in the front end. They really kind of radically change how it rides and how it feels to just ride in it for longer periods of time. I'm very impressed with that aspect of it. It almost feels like I upgraded my shocks, which I totally did not. So I'm going to zoom out and Hopefully you guys can see that it's not really sagging. Long term, I don't know how this is gonna hold up. I don't know if the coil sumo springs are gonna be more prone to wear and tear that they wouldn't otherwise be, because I am putting more compression on them. However, I know the polyurethane that they use is high density, super high strength, and comes with a lifetime warranty. I'm sure what I'm doing will void my warranty, but who knows? Hopefully I won't have to send them in for a repair or for a replacement anytime. Kind of a quicker video, just wanted to make sure that this information was out there. I think this video is less of a recommendation, but more so just putting this out there as an idea for you guys to try. I tried it. I think it works really well. I'm not sure if I have to get an alignment done, but I might just check alignment next time I go in for my oil change. Yeah, this is just a sample size of one. I'm not entirely sure if other people on the internet have done this. I'm sure they have. But for me, it just felt like a no-brainer, especially with the budgetary constraints that I'm facing regarding building, modifying, and beefing up my truck. Suspension just kind of felt low on the list of priorities, and in picking a $150 really cheap and affordable method to fix the problems that I was facing, both in the weight department and also in the aesthetics department, and not having to pay $800 just to do the front end. That was a really, really nice kind of surprise, because I wasn't expecting these to work all that well. I was expecting that I would receive them, try and install them, it wouldn't really go that great, and then I would have to return them, and then just buy the coil sumo springs that are actually recommended for my truck and recommended for my spring coil gap distance. But no, this has worked really nicely, and I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are, and if other of you out there have tried it before. So thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy, and hopefully we'll be coming out with some more truck videos, tips, tricks, setups, gear, all of the fun things.